What is up, guys? It's Griffin back at it again for part two of our series on overcoming fear of really big roller coasters. We'll do kind of a little breakdown of what happened in the last video. The last video, we virtually made a trip to Six Flags and we rode in an order of least to best rides, kind of preparing you for riding the New Texas Giant. Now we are finally here. We are down to the last three: New Texas Giant, Titan, and Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. So we're going to continue this video where we left off, where we were kind of in the process of talking about riding New Texas Giant. So let's go ahead and get started. New Texas Giant originally came out in 2011. Over a period of time, the ride closed in 2013 after an accident. Not gonna really talk about that in here. But the ride was refurbished. It originally was a wooden roller coaster with wooden track, with wooden. It was pretty lame at the time. It was really run down. Really rough. The outline of the track was not as good. There was just too many turns. So there were no tunnels. It was a fun ride at the time. These rides require a 48-inch height requirement. Like I said, there was an accident in 2013, but because of the accident, the trains that were built by Gerstlauer were meant to implement new riding restraints. The reason these riding restraints are in place is if say you're a really small person, skinny like me, then you should have no problem at all getting on this ride. But if you're kind of a little bit on the heavy side and these restraints come down, if they don't go down past a certain length and hit that sensor, the train's not going to clear and it's not going to be able to launch. So they're going to ask you to remove they're going to remove you from the ride and ask you to wait, or you go to the exit. They're not going to allow you to ride, which is also a good thing. It's a safety thing. It's not anything else. But let's talk about the ride. It's manufactured. It's the very first hybrid. It's a wooden roller coaster with steel tracks, manufactured by Rocky Mountain Construction. It's got an I-box track. It's got a chain lift hill. It's not an out and back coaster. The total height is 153 feet tall. The drop is 147 feet. Top speeds of 65 miles per hour with almost 5,000 feet of track. The first drop is 79 degrees with a G-force of about 4.2 Gs. But you really don't feel the G-forces during this ride, so no worries there. The duration of the ride is roughly around 2 minutes. Very, very great ride. Let's take a moment and let's kind of relax, so to speak. You finally talked yourself into getting in line, and the waiting in line for this ride is probably the most important thing when it comes to riding something that's big that you're scared of for the first time. Because as you're waiting in line, you're playing in your head, and at first when you're in the back of the line, it's not so bad. And then you get to the front of the line, and then you get to the train, and you walk through the train to the exit. Okay, that's not what we're going to do. As we're waiting in line, we start getting nervous. We start playing in our head what's going on, what could possibly happen, what could go wrong. I could get stuck. I could die. The roller coaster could mess up. It could collapse. You start running through 100,000 worst case scenarios that could happen to you when you're getting ready to get on this ride. The first thing that I can tell you to not do that is to relax. Okay? Six Flags and just about every Six Flags chain and their rides anywhere in this country, anybody that's been there for a long time will tell you this is probably the safest place to ride roller coasters. Just not like going to an amusement park where you have a roller coaster that breaks down or something like Six Flags. Is way different. Okay? Just follow the rules that they tell you. That's it. Okay? If it's your first time, put your seatbelt on extra tight. Make sure that your lap bar is pulled down as far as you want it to where you feel safe, and you feel comfortable. Okay? While you're waiting in line in the queue, every single person that's new says the same thing. They're nervous. They get up there to the stairs before you go into the station. They start telling me, oh, I'm nervous now. I'm really, really nervous. I don't know if I can do this. You can do that. So I do the same thing to them every single time, and I just start talking to them about anything that's besides the roller coaster. So that's what you do. That's what I did. When I was waiting in line, I picked up the phone and I called someone. And I just talked to them and I said, hey, talk to me. I'm about to get on this ride. I'm really nervous. I'm really scared. I don't really want to. Blah, blah, blah. But I'm doing it anyway because I want to face my fear type of thing. So they talked to me. And up until I got on the ride, even when I got up to the train car, okay, that's when the nerves started kicking in. My heart's beating so fast I can feel it. Like I can literally hear the pace of my heartbeat through my ears. The anxiety, I'm sweating, I'm a little nervous, and I'm shaking. But I'm trying to play it cool because I don't want anybody to think that I'm a bitch, you know. So I'm just kind of trying to be chill. Okay. And then the ride starts. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. Me, I wasn't afraid of heights. I was afraid of the lift hill. I never did like going up really high, really slow. I always liked things that went up really high, really fast. You know, like an airplane or a helicopter. So the best thing for you to do right here is to just remain calm, for one. Just take slow, deep breaths when you're going up the lift hill. You'll be fine. Number one thing to not let happen. Don't freak out on the ride and sit there and say that you want to get off the ride, because I'm going to tell you this right now. Once you're on that sucker and it leaves the station, you are not getting back in that station until that ride is over. Okay? Just relax. If you're afraid of heights when you're going up the lift hill, the best thing for you to do is to ride in the middle. As you're riding in your middle car, this is what I want you to do. I want you to look at the person in front of you. If there's nobody in front of you, there's going to be a seat in front of you. As you're going up that lift hill, I want you to just look at that seat. Don't look to your left. Don't look to the right. If you're riding with someone, don't talk to them. Ignore them. Okay? If they're trying to talk to you and get you to look off and get them to look on, don't do it. Just stay focused. If you keep your mind busy on looking at that seat, you're not going to be focused on the height that you're going to. You're going to know that you're going up to it, but you don't want to know. You could probably communicate this to your riding buddy if you have one, and then tell them, hey, when we get to the top of the lift hill, you let me know. Any other time, don't say nothing to me. So that's what you do. So you're riding, you're looking at the seat in front of you. As you're going up the lift hill, you get to the top. Your friend next to you tells you that you're getting to the top. This is why I said ride in the middle. Because as you're riding in the middle car, you don't really see the drop. Middle and the back are probably the best parts for these rides. Because one, you don't see the drop. Two, if you're in the middle towards the back, when you get to the drop, you're already going over the drop. So you're not sitting up there for an extended period of time. Or if you're sitting in the front, you're not sitting there just malingering over the top of the hill. Middle and the back on your first time is the best and smoothest way for you to get through and get over that ride. So you get to the top of the lift hill. This is what I want you to do. I want you to think about how scared you are, and I want you to scream as how scared you are. If you're like extremely scared, then I want you to scream at the top of your lungs as hard as you can when you're going down that lift hill. You don't have to put your hands up if you don't want to, but you'll end up doing it halfway through the ride anyway. And when you're sitting there screaming, going down that lift hill, just keep it going as you're going through the ride and running through it. And after the first drop, and about when you're getting ready to, you get about to the mid-course brake run, There's a mid-course brake run, and then you kind of dive down. And you make a left turn just before that second airtime hill. There'll be the adrenaline will have already kicked in by this time, and you'll start having fun. My first time when I went down the drop, I was hella freaking nervous getting down the drop. But I held onto my seat, and I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not putting my hands up. Y'all crazy as hell. I don't want to fall out. So when I got to the hill and I went down and we're going up, I'm not sitting there screaming or going woohoo like most men do. I'm sitting there, I just start laughing because it's so much fun. And I ran the duration of the ride, and then after the ride was over, we hit the brake run, and I'm like, what in the fuck, dude? This is like the best ride ever. For me at the time, it was. So yeah, the feeling you get when you get off the ride is what we're going to talk about. The fact of that you were scared of something, that you had a fear. A lot of people don't do it. You were scared of something, you faced that fear, and then you had fun while you were facing that fear. Makes you as a person, brings your self-confidence up in yourself, because it makes you feel good about yourself that you were able to face that fear. The only way to overcome fear, and then the same thing with roller coasters also applies with life. Anytime you go through a part of your life and there's something that you need to do that's in your life that you're afraid of, the only way that you can actually get over that fear is to just do it and to face the fear. Once you face that fear head on and you come out on top, you're going to feel so much better about yourself. Your self-esteem is going to go up. And then 99 times out of 100, you'll want to go again. Every single person I've ever ridden that ride with, that was the first time we got off the ride, we ended up getting back in line again to ride it again. My 9-year-old sister rode it 4 times. Her first time riding it during that one day, we were able to ride it 4 times. We had Flash Pass, but that don't count. So we got quite a bit of rides, and she didn't raise her hands up at first, but at the end of it, she was. To everybody that's scared to ride these big rides, don't let that fear control you. Don't let it overtake you, and definitely don't act on it. Like I said, remember, in the station, rule number 1, keep your mind occupied. Stay busy on something else besides being scared. Talk about the weather, talk about wrestling, talk about the presidential election that went sideways, talk about COVID, talk about this, talk about anything, talk about Christmas presents. Just keep your mind occupied and keep talking and keep going. Once you get in the car, you get in the station, in the car, remember the process. Once you're strapped in, you leave the station. Find a spot on a seat. Look at the seat. As you're getting strapped into your seat, make sure that your seat belt and your lap bar are tight to the point to where you feel comfortable. Me, I want my stuff loose, okay? I just do, because I like airtime. But not everybody's like that, okay? If you want to be safe and secure because you're nervous and you're scared, pull it tight. When you get to the top of the lift hill, remember, let it all go, scream it out, and let it out. And then the last part, enjoy yourself and feel better about yourself. Once you ride Texas Giant, you get off Texas Giant, your adrenaline's going to be pumping because you were scared, now you're not. So the best thing for you to do is to just follow it. Just keep it going. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video, is probably the only other 2 rides during the discussion are Titan and Mr. Freeze. But like I said, take a ride on Texas Giant. And once you do, you're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to love it. You're going to call it a good ride. You're going to call it a great ride. And then anytime you see a big wooden roller coaster, you're not going to be afraid of it anymore. So I appreciate you guys stopping by again, man. Like I said, it's Monday, so I had to make a good video before work. Tomorrow, we're going to have part 3 of the series coming out. I really appreciate you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. turn on the notification bell for more content. And until the next time, peace out, my dudes.